Morning. This is my first video talking about the ideas that I think are helpful if you are really struggling with your mental health. Um, when I made my introductory video, I said that I didn't find I had a mental health crisis when I was in my early 20s, around 2021, and I was really struggling with suicide and trying not to take my own life. And um, I didn't talk to anyone about it at the time, and I kept it a complete secret. And I worked very hard to keep it a secret. Um, but one of the problems I had was a lot of the material and the resources were all about positive thinking, and they were about mindfulness. And for me, when I was in crisis, and when I really needed support or needed something, the idea of being positive thinking or mindful just seemed like a load of shit. Like it didn't make sense. The easiest way to describe it is at the point that you're really struggling. Asking someone to be positive or mindful is like asking someone who's colorblind to see color. It just doesn't work. Um, I now work with people who have sort of complex needs, and some of those needs might be around mental health. And I've found that some of the things that have been useful for me in managing my own and managing it when I was struggling seem to have been helpful for them. I think one of the ideas that at the worst point, so when things were really bad, that started to come out was the idea of curiosity, and that might seem underwhelming. You might think, right, I've heard of that before. Why is that helpful? But I think when you look at the experience of being suicidal, is you're 100% certain. So you're 100% certain that you're a piece of shit, or you're 100% certain that your life's not worth living, or you're 100% certain that there isn't um, there isn't something good waiting for you, or you've let everyone down. It could be any number of different negative thoughts, but you're certain about it, and that's why you're struggling to live. And I think the beginning of starting to get better is to start to be a bit curious. So when you're in that moment where you're really struggling and you're really finding things difficult, you start to think, actually, maybe I don't know. Yeah, maybe there is something here that maybe I need to think about this a bit more. And obviously, when I say think about it a bit more, some people, you know, if you get trapped in your head, you don't want to get stuck in a constant loop. But what I mean is that it's starting to say, actually, I don't know everything. Actually, I can be a bit curious about, I think I'm this piece of shit, but maybe there is something else there, or actually there might not be the friendships or relationships that I want, or I feel like I've let people down, but maybe there's a bit of hope there. Maybe something will be different in the future. Um, I couldn't imagine sort of 10 years ago when I was finding things really difficult where I'd be now. I'd no idea about the relationships I'd have now, or the job I'd have now, or the work I'd be doing, or what my life would look like, and how good it is. And actually, with a little bit of curiosity, you can start to imagine maybe things can be better. So curiosity is more of like a tool than a solution. It doesn't solve all your problems. It doesn't suddenly make you start feeling 100% better. But what it does do is it starts to challenge that certainty that can trap you when you're feeling really unwell. When you're feeling really mentally unwell and you're struggling, and you've got all these awful assumptions, actually being a little bit curious is a really good tool just to start to untrap yourself and start to think maybe, just maybe, things might be a little bit better. I should just give it a little bit more time, because actually I couldn't have imagined where I'd be now. And I think a lot of the people I work with, if they can just be a little bit curious, and when they start to be a little bit curious about themselves and the world around them, and stop being so certain that everything is bad and that they're bad and it's all a load of shit, it does start to get better. So if you're struggling with the positive thinking, if you're struggling being mindful, don't worry about that. Just start to try and be a bit curious. Say, actually, maybe I don't know everything, and maybe it could be a little bit better if I just give it a bit of time. So for me, I think curiosity is one of the things that does count when you're trapped and you're struggling. So I hope if you're listening to this and you're someone that is struggling, I hope that might be a bit useful for you. All right. And so thank you for listening to my video, and I hope that is a little bit helpful.